And we are live. Wait, hold on, let me paste it. Very professional.
Nice.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Sketchbook Show and Tell. We got a bunch of people from SF, Kim from Vegas, and Anna from Boston. First up we have Kim. Tell us about yourself, Kim. Who are you?
Hi, I am. Dude, I just had my birthday. I am 39 years old, guys.
Happy
Uh,
birthday!
Thank you. I'm a 39-year-old housewife from Las Vegas. I am not that good at housewifely stuff, so I decided to pick up painting instead. So, because I'd rather paint than clean. Uh, yeah. And I mean, that's me. Yeah, I have a 11-year-old son, and my husband is also on the Warrior Painter server. If you see him, his name is Brent. He's usually quiet until he makes fun of you. So that's us. All right, so the paintings I'm showing today are actually from a challenge from last September. It's we had a contest on War Painters called Paint S'more challenge, and the theme was it had to be camping themed. And for the challenges like Plain April and with Paint Smart, I don't like to. I try to push myself, so I try to do everything from life. So, but since it was camping themed, I had a hard time figuring out how to do it. So I bought this. I should have took them out, but I bought these Lego camping set that has like little Lego tent, and a little Lego like camping van, and I just put it in places and then painted it as if that was the camping. So that was my. I did. I was like, let's do camping, but on my sink. See, this was day one. So
Wouldn't that be called sinking instead?
No, it could be. It's camping while sinking. And what was I thinking of? I don't know. Anyways, so this is our kitchen and the what's it called? The van. This is our mixer with the van. The van's going through some, our kitchen continuing to. This is Grey Poupon with other Legos. So this was a Lego fire, and then you could make a Lego tree. So this is that with Grey Poupon. And then this, it was September, so it's close to Harvest Moon time. For those of you who are Asian or aware of Asian culture, during Harvest Moon, there's this thing called a moon cake that has like an egg on the inside, and that's supposed to symbolize the moon. Anyways, it's one square is like 1,200 calories, and so this is the Lego guy next to 1,200 calories of moon cake, right there. Yeah, very good. So this early in the I think early September or something, we went to Stanford. We went to NorCal to visit Franklin actually, and it was like Lyndon was there, lots of people were there. Amanda was there, Jojo. So this this was taken, and a couple of the ones from Stanford, I just took a bunch of photos because we were only there for a little while. So not all of it is from life, I guess. But this is the van in the bushes at Stanford. I can tell that you know that it's from Stanford because I mean these leaves look really smart, right? Like,
Yeah, obviously.
yeah, obviously. And this is the van on top of a fire hydrant at Stanford. Okay, this was also at Stanford. Yeah. Okay. So this is the van as we left. Um, because because I wasn't there for very long. This was us leaving, and this was our. I don't even know if that was our plane. Um, I can't remember. Was this Stanford? This might have been. I think this is Stanford.
The door looks pretty smart.
Yeah, it's a smart door. I just, yeah, pretty sure this is Stanford. This is in front of my house, as you can see. We have rocks in front of our house. We live in Las Vegas, so we have a lot of rocks and desert-friendly plants and ADT, which is essential for the front of your house.
What's
And
ADT?
ADT is the alarm system that we
Oh,
use,
okay,
and
okay.
the van also had like a kayak. So this time I went to make it cool. And then this is the fire hydrant that's in front of our house. I'm sure you guys love fire hydrants. Maybe that's what I should paint this year for a plein air fall. I'll just go find fire hydrants and paint fire hydrants
Hey, it
all week. But
fits the fire
yeah,
theme or the water
oh,
theme.
that's true. It's fire and water, so that might work. So then this is this is the brick in front of our garage. So it was nice though. I enjoyed the way the light was shining. I believe this is 11 a.m. light. Pretty cool. This was uh from I painted this at Somi Somi. Do you guys know what Somi Somi is? It's like really delicious. Like if you've ever had taiyaki, it's a fish shaped um pastry, I guess, that has stuff inside. And Somi Somi puts soft serve inside, and it's really, really good. Delicious.
Like ice cream?
Yeah, soft serve ice cream. And it's
Ooh.
the best soft serve I have ever eaten. It's like the smoothest soft serve. Doesn't really taste like soft. And here is our camper van in the handicap um, section of as you can see, the van uh, takes up the entire handicap parking spot. um, so it was parked in the right place. Here is the van with laugama, which is chili oil, because I can't do can't do any kind of painting set without having laugama. Um, I think this. Oh yeah, this was. We have this fake bamboo plant in our backyard. it's it's fake, but it's green and it's in our backyard. And I stuck the bus there, and that was cool. This
Full
is
scale.
yeah, this is with our tire. Um, it's very good. Um, this this day I was not I was not feeling well. I said, you know what? I don't feel like going out and doing things, so I'm just going to put a sticker, well, like the equivalent of a sticker on top of waves. So this was a day where I phoned it in for sure. So then we went back to our sink because I was stuck at home and we're doing sink stuff again. Oh, this is our cat, Danky Kang, which is like
Best name.
Donkey Kong, but with A's. By the way, we are getting a new cat soon, at the beginning of next month, and we've already decided his name. His name's going to be Young Lonk. Young Lonk. So we're going to go in the same direction as Dinky King. So we're going to have Dinky King and Young Lonk, and they're going to fight. That's
the whole Smash Brothers roster.
just gonna be the whole, what? Like, Waluigi was fine because he's not even part of Smash Brothers. So, but yes, we're gonna. So this is the van with an apple. Now that I have been taking Gia's class on still life, I do realize that this is not a very good apple. But you know what? You live and you learn. And this was learning. Okay, so the van also came with like other things, like I don't know. Wow, I suck at this. I put the driver in. There was a girl Lego, and also this is a squirrel that comes with the set, which didn't really make sense to me because the squirrel is the same size as the people. But you know, weirdly enough, the scale was accurate. So this was this was funny. I for a while I was carrying around the thing with me everywhere in my backpack, and I just ran out of ideas, so I just picture of the van inside my backpack because why not? Why not? This is where the van lived the whole month, basically. This is the van with our with all the accessories plus our what's it called? A jar of fake flowers. This jar of fake flowers is usually in our bathroom, but for this event, I actually took it out of our bathroom and put it on our dining table.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I know. I went really far for this one.
Out.
Yeah, I went all the way from the bathroom to our dining table, which, Lyndon, you know, it's really far.
Weird flex.
It's not far, guys. I'm joking. And then this is us being back at Somi Somi because I was determined to gain a lot of weight, and also we found this really delicious pizza place next door to it that like has like cones of pizza. It's basically like a fresh hot pocket, and it's really good. If you guys come out to Vegas, I can take you guys to Pizza Twister. Just imagine holding like a cone of sourdough and just having pizza on the inside. Really good. Anyways, so that was that month. This was September 2021, and much fun was had, and 10 out of 10 would do it again. And I can't wait to do it again in April. Although, I don't know, I haven't thought of a theme yet. I guess I don't have to think of the theme, but I think for me, I'm usually more encouraged to do things when there's a gimmick. As
Is there a
it
Lego
makes
set for Avatar? You can buy all the.
oh, get an Avatar Lego set.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be a good idea. Yeah, I'm gonna go searching for this as soon as I end my video.
Okay.
All right. So yes, good stuff, guys.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Bye.
Okay, Franklin, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Franklin, based in San Francisco, and I actually paint with quite a few people showing today. And yeah, I'm going to just show off my gouache paintings, but secretly I dislike gouache, and I'm more of an oil painter. But yeah, this is after going to a Mike Hernandez workshop and getting to know gouache a little bit more. So came back from that and then started going to paint my favorite subject, which is water, and also waves, and trying to capture more of that. So This, along with that, I've been picking up the hobby of fishing and crabbing, so kind of just do both at the same time. So this was over at this. Where was this? We were painting over at Fort Funston, and I did 2 paintings that day because I realized that I could paint so much faster in gouache because I don't have to worry about too many cleanup and stuff. And then this is the reverse view of it. So behind us is where it came down from.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there's actually a dog park too, sort of, because like you kind of see like there's some doggies over there too. But yeah, the dogs come over and they try to like figure out what you're doing. Some of them play around a lot. They chase each other, and they're just running around the beach. You have to be very, very careful because you might be tackled by a dog. So continue my beach water theme. I've been painting more waves while I'm just setting up my rod to fish and crab, and I just have a little bit of time to paint in between each reel pull. So this one was done, I think, in the mornings, and it was really foggy, which affected how the gouache behaved too. And it was, you could kind of see like the transitions between things were a little bit better because of how wet the painting surface was with the environment. So like I got these nice gradients, and that was really cool.
Do you like painting in those conditions? I always get so mad when my gouache won't dry.
Sometimes I do, depending on like the effects I'm going for. But half the time I'm just like frustrated at the end because I'm like, oh, it's not really drying and I can't layer as well. This was the afternoon of the same day, so that was pretty cool to like. I couldn't get those like nice transitions as I wanted from like the morning, but the highlights really pop out more. So that's some of the stuff about gouache that was more nuanced and interesting because of the conditions it affects you in. Next one is when, because I organized some of the plein air paintouts here, and I've been kind of selfish in just taking us to water or ocean areas. So the next one is by the pier at Pacifico. And this was, I think, yeah, there you go. I did 2 paintings that day. And this was by Pacifica Pier. I believe that I wanted to do crabbing, but I got lazy, so I just decided to do 2 paintings instead. And each of these...
waves.
Yeah, the Pacifica Pier, if you haven't heard, Pacifica is a place that people keep telling, or I think media keeps saying that, oh, this is a place that's going to sink into the ocean. And you could tell why, because the waves are huge and erosion kind of happens where the waves are hitting. And a lot of, like, the pier itself actually has been closed off before because of, like, the structure just being pounded by the waves and actually succumbing to, like, a lot of the bad parts of, it's actually kind of crazy because, like, the pier got closed off because it just broke down. So I don't know if they're going to repair parts of it, but they closed off some sections of it. That I really like the energy of the waves. I was trying to capture this like sort of like pool and this chaotic energy while like maintaining. So the composition that really struck to me in this painting was when you have structure and you have like chaos, and then just trying to depict that energy of just like it hitting, and then since it's a corner, it kind of has to like hit that way and then spray that way. And obviously, you know, the wave is not going to stay still for me, so I had to like kind of picture, imagine the physics of it. And that's kind of the tricky part about painting waves too. Here's another one over at China Beach in San Francisco. It was another day I just went solo crabbing and met some friends, or made some friends with the fellow fishermen over there, and they're all like curious at first because like I just look like a typical fisherman because I have my waders, I have like all my stuff for fishing, and suddenly I just take out a tripod, I stick down my easel, and after I cast, I just go to my easel and start painting, and then people are just like looking like, what is he doing? And then it's a great conversation starter, and I don't mind making friends with fishermen because like they're actually all really friendly, and that community reminds me a lot of the plein air community, where everyone's helpful and because they want everyone to enjoy the experience of what they love too. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, some guy actually that day he gave me a crab snare that he made on the spot for me. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, that's so nice. And this is like their
the best icebreaker. People just walk over if you're shy, like you don't want to talk to people. They come over and they look at your stuff and they start a conversation instead.
Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes you get the conversations like, are you in a class? Or you get the conversations that are interesting. I always look for the interesting ones. But the most common was like, are you in class? Or like, oh, my uncle paints, my cousin paints, or so and so. But that's fine. I'm painting by myself, so they can't say, are you in a class? This is the reverse view of that day. I just kind of stayed the whole day. This is a morning shot towards the Golden Gate Bridge. I really want to capture that like golden like hour sort of feel, and then this cooler shadow right there. That was really fun. And then this one was the reverse shot on the closer to noontime, and it was the shadows on the distant rocks and the cliff sides were really cool.
I love this one.
Yeah, I think Joey wants to trade for this one, so she's getting that one. This is when we went to just paint some lily pads because take a break from fishing, and we did a thing, a little paint session in Golden Gate Park, right, the Young Museum, and they have like a little fountain and some lily pads, and I just want to play with that and just play with some more graphical elements like slicing in half, and then there's like this one lily that's unbloomed, dead center, and just like a bunch of pads all over the place. I want to get more to architectural painting, so painting some signs, and there's like this church behind us. And is this in reverse? I guess my thing's mirrored.
No, it looks
fine on the stream.
Oh, okay, weird. Yeah. So it reads Trader Sam, right? So
yeah.
All right, great. Yeah, I wanted to get into architectural painting. I have friends who paint like more cityscape stuff, and that's just something that I want to get better at. So I started, and then we took a break for a while in our group because of the Omicron surge, but we just got back into it again, and I got back into painting more cityscape stuff. And this one, I felt like it was more this stuff that I know I could do digitally, but I've never attempted too much traditionally. And it was kind of a breakthrough piece to tell me like it's all the same thing. In the end, it's like, okay, as long as I know like my perspective, like how things are, and I could blob in some of these shapes. Like these cars are very abstract, but if you pull it far away, it looks like cars. So that's what makes it cool. And as long as you get the accurate shapes and the values and the perspective, like things will just read. Like some of this distance stuff where just like super abstract, and then like I'm just blobbing in windows. But then I'm also following a line of like where the windows will probably go in terms of perspective. And same thing over there. And then plus like the challenge for me was because San Francisco is not flat, we're full of hills, and trying to get that sort of like incline feel, and that was really challenging. And I think this really helped me with just nailing that down. Next, I went to paint with Heather, and so I went to visit Deep East Bay, and then they have a lot more greenery, and I think this is after like some rain that's well needed in the Bay Area. So I painted these hills before, and they were all dried up and yellow, but this time I went, it was just full of like life, and it was really cool. I spent more time talking than painting because we were just catching up since we haven't seen each other for such a long time. And I think near the end of my painting, because I wasn't thinking at all, I'm just going to paint whatever in front of me. Near the end, I was like, oh my goodness, this tree is like dead center of like the whole composition. And I was just, after that, I was like, it really bothered me. So I'm trying to like connect things with shadows, with like different things, trying to distract you from the dead center tree. But I can't stop looking at this dead center tree. So that's why I'm not really a fan of this painting. I like some aspects of it, like the sort of like houses and like how I depict like the neighborhood. But that dead center tree just kind of bothered me the whole time. And then went down the hill, and then there was this nice, cool tree with a ladder installed onto it. And I thought it felt like one of those, like, I don't know, like cartoon trees or movie trees where like you grow up and then you climb up the ladder, you go to your tree house, or there's some apples to pick or something like that. So this felt like something that called out to me that I really wanted to paint. And you can see some details too. And it's all very like abstract, and like I only used 2 brushes for this. So most of the time I'm always using like a thick 1-inch brush, and then like I think a 1/2 inch brush flats. And then this one, we went to Golden Gate Park over at Stowe Lake, and we just decided to paint this little I forgot what they're called. Pagoda? Yeah. Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that day was like more of a promo day for a show that we have coming up, and we just wanted to pick a place that was more photogenic for us. And I figured what better place to paint than just like being around like springtime stuff, like greenery and all that stuff. So a group of us went out to paint while the show that we're having pretty soon, actually this Sunday, tomorrow. The gallery owner came by to take photos of us painting. This painting really turned out okay for me because I like the structure and I like the like messiness and looseness of everything else. And like for me, like far away it pops. Looking back at it, there might be some things like I might like fix this shape a little bit, knock that back because this is really standing out like this weird dragon-esque, I don't know, thing. So that's something I might like go back into. But overall, I really like how like having vegetation being more abstract and having a structure really cements a piece. So it's almost like
I love the energy in this one. I love the tree holes.
Yeah. Tree holes. I love tree holes. Like those are always like the best things to paint. I added more tree holes because I'm like, no, I just want like tree holes. So I just started adding more here and there. Even though it's like technically these tree holes are supposed to be like up here, I just scooted it down. And yeah, I think that day everyone was painting on top of their game. Like Kate had an amazing painting. Juan Carlos has amazing painting. Everyone else in our group had really great paintings. And yeah, speaking of which, hopefully you get to see some of that soon as we switch over to the next person. But thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Franklin. Okay, who wants to go next? Kate, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, you're vertical.
Am I turned? Oh no! Let me fix it. Turn it. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, my iPad isn't cooperating. Oh yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but when I paint in a sketchbook, it's a different kind of painting. Like, I really like painting when it is purely just for myself, and I know there's no other intention for it. So that's kind of what my intention for this sketchbook was. I have some of my friends' stickers in here I wanted to shout out. This is Don Carlos. She's a good friend and also paints with us a lot. And Heather, who Franklin was painting, I have some of her stickers in here as well. I like to put stickers on all my stuff.
Nice.
One of my test sheets, I just think they look cool, so I stuck it in here. This is really old. This is how I started this sketchbook. We used to have portrait night with Franklin and some other friends. So I did this portrait in the sketchbook and then didn't touch it again for years. It sat on my shelf. And came back to it and started putting paintings in it. So this one is my wife and daughter. We went for I guess I should introduce myself. I didn't really introduce myself.
Yes.
So I live in Berkeley. I lived in San Francisco for a really long time, but I paint with, Juan and Franklin and the crew. And yeah, I would say painting, in gouache specifically is literally my self-care and happy place. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, so painting is really, when I have one window of time to do something for myself, painting is usually the thing that I need to do for myself to be happy. So, and I feel like especially through the pandemic, painting has been a coping mechanism for me, and I think for a lot of the people in our group, because it fulfills the need of, being out in nature, getting to hang out with your friends, and getting to make art too. And so it's this great, especially plein air, is this great combination of meeting all of my needs at once.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a trip. We went to a farm in Petaluma, my wife and daughter and I. And, I don't know if there's any parents around here. Juan, I know you're a parent as well, but, with a young kid, sometimes painting just means, nap time. And so we were at this farm, and there was this really cool rusty truck outside of the little barn house that we were staying in. And my daughter had gone down for her nap, and I immediately grabbed my painting stuff and went outside. And I think I only had with me watercolors and white gouache. And so I was trying to emulate gouache a little bit by just adding white gouache to my watercolors. And then I had colored pencils and was just that's what I love about painting in my sketchbooks. I feel like I can do whatever I want, even if it's painting and then, putting colored pencil on top. But I really liked some of the texture in this, and it was just such a fun thing. We walked up to it, and I was like, I'm painting that. That's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's like all the tires were sunk into the ground and everything was overgrowing it. It was just so cool.
Do you guys get this good feeling when you're walking in a structure that's broken down, or
yeah,
a building that's in ruins? Yeah, there's a
yeah. I feel
I can't remember.
Yeah, and I feel like there's weird people like us who get really excited by old broken down stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, everyday people walking by it might, think it's ugly or unattractive, but to us it's so interesting. So yeah. This was a painting I didn't finish. I was with our friends Joey and Franklin and Catherine, and we went to this dog beach over by my house. And I started to block in some of the figures. I don't think I'll finish it, but it was still a really, really fun day. And I kind of feel with my sketchbook and I'm sure you guys feel this way too, but even if a painting is terrible, you have that experience cemented. And so it becomes more about the journey of doing it than the actual result, which is my favorite thing about plein air. So, even if I don't ever finish this, I remember very clearly sitting there with, Franklin and Joey and Catherine and dogs running around us. And yeah, that's just the coolest thing about plein air to me is, I remember how the sounds and the smells and just how everything felt that day. I really liked this painting. This was a day that I had a day to myself and went out on my bike and, packed up all my painting stuff on the back of my bike and I ended up biking all the way from Berkeley up to Richmond, and really couldn't decide where to paint. Ended up coming back to my neighborhood and painting this series of overpasses that, kind of like what you were saying, Lyndon, when you see something broken down, I always see overpasses and I'm like, oh man, those shadows and those shapes. And I get really, strangely excited by overpasses. So I, took my bike and parked up under this overpass. I think it's an on-ramp And I just thought it was such a cool composition, how it comes down to a V, and this strip of glowing light that was coming through. And I think there's like a lot of homeless people living under this bridge, and it wasn't like, for a day off, it wasn't the most pleasant place for me to set up, but it was so fun to paint. And I was pretty happy with the result. I did like a yellow underpainting for this, and so I liked how the sky had a little bit of glow through as I painted the gradient down. So yeah, and our group hopefully will do some pedal and paint sessions where we go on bike ride.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because I love the idea of like getting out and doing a bike ride and like landing somewhere where we can paint together. It's really satisfying to pack up all your painting stuff on the back of your bike and just have everything you need.
Yeah, half the time we're exercising by like hiking forever anyways, so.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to decide what we're going to paint. And this tape is here. I like, as much as I intend to never touch this sketchbook and take anything out, I eventually end up cutting paintings out. And actually one of the paintings that I cut out of this sketchbook was a centerpiece that's in our show tomorrow. So it's inevitable. I'm gonna cut this thing apart eventually, but I think it's really satisfying just to have it all in one place in a book. This was another day I had to myself. I think I had an afternoon, and I rode my bike to West Berkeley, and there's all that kind of industrial, there's like nobody over there except the people working in these industrial areas. And this was an old, I think it was like a sand loader. So they would use this like ramp to load sand back in the day onto trucks to deliver them to different places. Now I think it's not used, but it's just this really cool old building. And I just loved the shapes, and I'd driven by it before, and I thought, I'm gonna come back and paint that someday. So I came back at some point and did. And it was right next to a homeless shelter. And it was really cool because, we have a lot of people approach us when we're out painting as a group, and people tend to say the same things all the time, like, paint me, or, they'll talk about how they like to paint, or how someone they know likes to paint. They talk about themselves usually. And in this situation, I met the most interesting people who were the most thoughtful about what I was painting and asked the most interesting questions, like, why did you choose this? And like, how did you start painting? And like people were just very interesting. And so it was one of the best painting experiences I've had, which was a little bit surprising considering the location that I chose. And some guy told me, I actually wrote it at the bottom, that my openness, reception, and heart was beautiful.
Yeah, that's
and so I wrote it down, and he wrote a letter to give someone else to give to me about my painting, and so I have that tucked in the back of my sketchbook. But it's just like that kind of stuff that happens when you're painting out in the world. I'll remember that forever when I look at this painting. So pretty cool. This is from the Lemon Squad. Yeah, so I think Aiden started Lemon Squad, and everybody painting lemons on Mondays. And I don't remember when that originated. I think Aiden was just painting a ton of lemons, and then people started piling on, and lemons were really hard to paint. And so this was just from being at home, and one day I hopped on with the Warrior Painters and set up some lemons in my office and just painted them in my sketchbook. So yeah, shout out to the Lemon Squad and all the friends I've made from painting lemons. I hate this painting, but I think it's important to show the paintings you don't like as well, because we all have paintings we don't like. And it was my daughter's first camping trip, so despite not, feeling good about what I was doing at the time and not really liking the end result, I still have this memory captured in here. And I even have at the back of this, I collected some leaves from her first camping trip and put them in the back of my sketchbook, and I like to treat it kind of more like a journal. So even though I don't love the result of this painting, it still captures the memory, so I like that I have it. It's like a page I cut out, I think, at some point to give to someone. This was a painting done from photo reference. I guess you can't really see the whole thing. So there's basically, I was out walking at night with my daughter, and there's this tree in our neighborhood. We call it the turkey tree because we have wild turkeys in our neighborhood, and they all roost in this tree. So if one day I looked out our window and you could see silhouettes of these huge turkeys sitting up in this tree. And I had captured this picture of it, and so I painted this one at night one day just from photo reference and just wanted to capture that memory of, my daughter. Every time we walk by this tree, she goes, "The turkey tree!" And I always think about how cool it is that the people that live in this house have literally like a dozen turkeys that just sleep in the tree behind their house at night. But I really liked the colors that were happening. I think there was a stoplight nearby that was casting some green light on the cement at this intersection. And so it was kind of fun to play with the color variation that was happening within the street colors. And some of the glowing light on this lamp was really fun to paint. And same thing Franklin said, I love painting cars because you can just make them super abstract and simplify their shapes, and they read pretty clearly as what they are. This was on another vacation with my family. We went to a farm in Fiddletown, which is up kind of just east of Sacramento. And there was this little stream on the farm, and I saw it, and I just thought that would be so challenging to break down. There's so much going on, like with the reflection, the trees in the reflection, and there were leaves, and there was just moss, and it was beautiful. And I just wanted to challenge myself to try to capture so much chaos in one image and try to capture some kind of interesting flow of composition with all that chaos happening. And I was pretty happy with how it turned out. And
I love this one. This is my
So good.
Me too. Oh my god.
And yeah, it was just like I had like, I was on vacation, so I was happy, and I was on a farm, and it was just like beautiful there. And later, my daughter came down while I was painting and played in the stream. She had her little rain boots on, and so I have great memories of doing this painting. And I was pretty happy with how it turned out. This was another day I had couple hours to myself and I drove over to West Berkeley again, where all the industrial stuff was. And there was this huge warehouse. I don't even know what goes on there, but there were, no trespassing, private property signs everywhere. And so I was pretty sure I was kicked out with my friends Dawn and John one time when we were painting. Had a security guard come by and tell us to get off private property. So I was, kind of expecting that to happen here, but it didn't. I opened the hatchback of my car and sat in the back of my car and just painted. I liked this truck and some of the weird shadows that were happening here, and it's just some of the interesting shapes. Yeah, I didn't love the result of this painting, but again, super fun to do, and captured another memory. And then I'm trying to start using this sketchbook for just doing some sketchy gouache studies in my free time when I'm at home. Like if I'm in a meeting at work and just listening to something but need to do something with my hands, sometimes I'll do photo studies. So these were some mushrooms that I had seen on a hike and, did from photo reference, and I was using a little bit of colored pencil in there too. And for a couple days I was just studying mushrooms, which are just so fun to paint, and they're just such cool, weird alien creatures. So I have a couple pages. This one was taking a photo reference of mushrooms that I found online, and the end result looks nothing like the photo reference. I wanted to try to make them look like they were glowing and just design a little bit more and play with texture. And I don't know if you can see, but there's like weird pencil textures in here. Just wanted to, I want to use my sketchbook to play a little bit more sometimes too, and just try things that I don't do out in the world. So that's what was going on with this one. This was a day off that my friend Pat Matthews, he's an amazing artist and he paints with our group as well. but we both took the day off one day and just went out to paint together and went to Keller Beach in Richmond. And we both, saw this spot and we were like, well, that's the spot. We knew right away. So we sat at a picnic table and just had a good time, like catching up. And, that's like my favorite place to be, is just hanging out with friends and catching up while painting. So yeah, it was pretty cool. There was like a journaling class that came up, and everybody came by and started checking out our work as they walked by, and so it was a pretty fun day. This is that day with Franklin and everybody when we were getting our pictures taken. And yeah, I was trying to be a little bit looser with this one, and Franklin was sitting literally like right behind me.
Oh yeah, I took the spot you wanted too, and then you're like, "Oh, can I just like post right next to you?" Like, yeah,
can I sit right next to you?
Yeah, can I just like breathe down your neck? Sure.
It was pretty fun though. There were these angry geese that I actually painted in the picture, but they were pretty obnoxious this whole time, and yeah, just like really good to have the crew back together in person after taking a break. And I liked how I love it when everybody paints the same scene in a completely different way, and it just shows how people see different things and apply what they see in completely different ways, and there's no right way or wrong way. Everybody just does it different, and I love that about when our group gets together and a scene like this where we were all painting the same subject, because everybody was on top of their game and everybody did such a great job, and everything looks completely different. So yeah, and that's the last one in this sketchbook that I have. I have a couple more to show in another sketchbook. This one I started. I like doing these, like, actually I don't even know that you can see the whole thing. But
we can.
You can. I like doing these panoramic scenes in these like landscape sketchbooks. It's just like an interesting challenge to deal with the, split in the center of the sketchbook and how you're going to arrange things. This is my friend Pat and Veronica. And yeah, I think Veronica actually painted me. I had my dog with me, and it was the first time I'd taken my dog plein air painting, and she was awesome and just sat next to me looking at me the whole time wondering what we were doing. But yeah, this was in Point Pinole in Richmond, and yeah, just a good time. Juan was there too. Juan was up the hill. And when he came back to join us, my dog thought he was very threatening. And barked at him.
I was going to try to sneak up on you guys, that's why.
Yeah. These are a few loose paintings that I had. This is one that I did with my friends Toby and Veronica in Japantown, and I did like a hot pink, that opera pink underpainting that a lot of people have been doing lately. And yeah, I was pretty happy with the result of it. It was pretty fun to do. And I can't remember if I showed this. This was from Plain Airpole last year. But this is a little place in my neighborhood that's like a little walk-up diner. So there's that one. This one was in Chinatown with a big group of us, and I think we walked around Pat and I walked around for at least an hour trying to pick a spot. We went through an abandoned garage just trying to find something really cool, and then eventually just came back and painted this building. And
yeah, that was the day I was late for reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You want to elaborate, Franklin?
Oh no, thanks. Not on YouTube.
So yeah, that was a good day too. This was a corner in my neighborhood. I just always knew I was going to come back and paint this. I loved the rainbow flags and just the whole scene. So that was Plain Airpole last year too. And this was Plain Airpole last year. It was a car in my neighborhood. Same thing, like old cars and broken down stuff I'm always drawn to. Yeah, and this one's for Juan. Juan and I are trading paintings, and he's gonna get this one.
Yes. Can't wait.
And then this one, I wanted to show this. This is one of the Coast Cards I didn't trade. If anybody wants to trade with me. But I wanted to show this one just so I can burn on Angela. Because we went to paint in Half Moon Bay. I think it was who was there, Franklin? It was
Veronica was there. I think Luna was there too.
It was Veronica, Luna,
My family was there because we're crabbing.
Franklin's family. Yeah, and so Angela was gonna come meet us out there, and then it never happened. So I like to just playfully like burn on her for standing me up. I was supposed to meet her in person that day, and it didn't happen. But we did. I think I knocked out 2 paintings that day on coasters, and it was just really cool. We could see this like huge rain cloud.
I have that one. We traded.
Yeah, that's the one I traded with you. There's this like huge wall of rain that you could just see out in the ocean coming towards us, and we were trying to like frantically paint. This was actually done after the rain. The rain came for like, I don't know, 20 minutes, and then we like I don't even think we went anywhere. We just pulled up our like raincoats and cleaned up our painting stuff, and then the rain went away and we started painting again, and that's when I painted this.
Yeah,
I had
that day
like
I caught
before the
crab
rain
too.
and after the rain. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then just as a last plug, this is my sketchbook of little 5-minute studies that I was doing with Kim and here on the Warrior Painters Discord. And Kim, I don't know if you want to like plug what you guys do in those, but
yeah, I mean on weekdays, except for last week, when I'm on vacation, on weekdays we paint 5-minute paintings in the morning. So it's 5 by 5 by 5, so 5-minute paintings every morning for 5 days under a certain theme. This upcoming week we will be doing figures that are holding fabric. That is the theme for this upcoming week. So
it's fun and it's really hard if you're doing it traditionally.
Like
I literally like everything's wet and I'm just slapping stuff on. I know Kim, you do them in watercolor, but it's still really fun, and I feel like it's a good practice of mixing color really quickly. And just trying to capture, really simple shapes that read as what they are. But we were doing bugs when I was doing these, and snakes.
It's a really good way of like quickly learning what's important. Often my painting, I'll notice that, I get stuck on something, and it's mostly because I'm not thinking about what's important in the picture, and it's a good practice.
Yeah, totally.
Hope to see you guys there. Figures.
Yeah.
And once Plain Airful starts, we're going to start doing each of the elements per week. And yeah.
What day is?
That's everything I've got. And I'm looking forward to super excited to do Plain Airful with you guys.
Every weekday at 8 a.m. Pacific.
Sweet.
Okay, Juan, you want to go next?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me do this, and then let me fix my orientation.
There we go. Nice.
All right, so I got a lot of work.
Can you tell us about yourself?
Oh yeah, of course. My name is Juan Carlos, and I live in San Francisco. Used to be a full-time instructor for the Academy of Art, but now I'm a full-time dad. I have a 4-year-old superhero, so he takes up a lot of my time. And kind of like what Kate was saying, I try to go out and paint as much as I can on Wednesdays and Sundays, a lot with the painting crew. So like Franklin, Kate, Veronica, you guys know who you are. And so this one was with my son. So it can be done if you are parents and you want to try to push yourself. This one's a 5 by 7 acrylics on a canvas board, and just bring lots of treats and food and play on the sand. And you can get a little over an hour, at least for my son, it was a little over an hour for this one. You can tell it's like a little wobbly and whatnot, but Chrissy Field, perfect place. So if you're in San Francisco, a good spot, Chrissy Field. This is a pile of gouache. I started off in gouache, kind of like what Franklin and Kate was saying with the pandemic. I just wanted to get better in painting in general, so I just did a lot of gouache paintings, and this was using a paper block. So I kind of went from the sketchbook to the paper block because, like what Kate was saying, like when you have it in your sketchbook, it's beautiful and everything, but sometimes you want to sell something and it's just hard to like cut it out. And so I figured this would be a little easier to hand out for gifts or if someone wanted the painting. This one in particular is, I think, in Point Pinole with some of the people from the painting crew. And I too love painting things that have a lot of utility use to it and like character. And this is a little market in Santa Rosa that it actually has been around since like the early 1900s. And it's one of the oldest liquor markets. And nobody really stops to look at it. And I just saw so much like character to it that I wanted to paint it, but it was not in the greatest places of locations, a lot of homeless and transients. And so, you know, I don't shy away from that sort of stuff. So I'll set up anywhere really, rain or shine or bad neighborhood or not. I'll set up, and if it's successful, then it is. If it isn't, then I just try to do another painting another time. But I really like this one. It's a little deli liquor store in Santa Rosa. And then we all love overpasses, right, as artists. So, and this is another one in Santa Rosa that was calling for me to paint it. I could not capture it, but the lighting, it was really hot that day, and this like area of like contrast just had this really nice yellow glow and heat, and I just was trying really hard to capture it, but I did my best. This one's actually a funny one. This is one where I experienced someone tweaking off some drugs, and they just stood in front of my easel, like dancing. They was just like dancing, like really slowly and like staring at me and like doing some really crazy stuff. And I had to actually flag a police officer down because then they started dancing in the middle of the road. And this area was actually pretty busy. And so I had to get a police officer to help this person. And they were like tweaking really hard. And it was like really hard to paint because they were like standing right in front of the easel. And so I'm just trying my best to paint. And I just thought that was a funny story to share.
Always making friends.
Always. Yeah, always. This one's a gas station in Santa Rosa, really old gas station. They still use those like the bell cable things that you run over and then like a service person runs out and they fill up your gas and that sort of thing. And I just kind of like the nostalgic old 50s, 60s kind of look to it. It was a rainy day, so there was a lot of like dull colors and whatnot. So I try to capture that. And then little trail in Runner Park, Northern California, about an hour and 15 minutes from here. Now these are a series in San Francisco, so this is in the marina. I took pretty nice day. Just trying to, again, like everyone else, just trying to find what's important and then really simplify the background and like what Franklin was saying, like trying to simplify things and your brain will fill it in the background, like trying to capture that atmospheric perspective and then having that contrast and your main focus up closer so you can kind of get that like f-stop camera effect where things are nice and clear here and then it starts to blend away in the background. So that was here in the city, and then this was the Mission in Dolores, real close to Dolores Park. Really overcast. You'll see in a lot of these I go early in the morning, so most of the time it's just overcast. Unless I go past the Diviz towards the water, it gets a little bit more sunny. This is Pier 26, right underneath the Bay Bridge. I was trying to capture that light again. This one was probably around 1 or 2 o'clock. And then this one is the Conservatory of Flowers, really close to my home. I live really close to the Golden Gate Park. And then this is Fort Mason. real close to the Mason Green. There's like this old fort place that has a lot of little hidden gems back there. And then this one's on Geary, that church that's on, I think, 26 in Geary. And then these are all pretty much with the painting crew, with Franklin and Kate and Veronica, and hopefully Pat again soon. Washington Square, North Beach, my old stomping ground. If you ever want to just people watch, it's a great place. You get like tourists, you get like people from the city, and then you get homeless, and just a good melting pot of different characters there. I always like going there. It's never a dull moment. And then this one is out on the beach. I want to say it's like Mile Rock?
Yeah, Mile Rock Beach.
Yeah. So again, just trying to capture the environment with the grays and overcast. And I think I struggled really hard on this one. I tried a few times. You can tell that I've cut back into it with the gouache. And then I was fortunate with the crew to paint with Heather. Heather's actually right here. She's painting. And I think this was in Glen Park somewhere, like Glen Canyon.
Glen Park.
Yeah, so just trying to capture these, look like just a big pile of gigantic boulder rocks. I thought it was a really cool structure to paint, and all these like vegetations coming out in between the cracks.
I noticed like me and Pat are on top over there. Is that what you silhouetted in?
Yeah.
Yeah, us too.
So I think this one's you, Franklin.
Yeah, that was me. I was standing.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that.
That was funny.
So I don't. Yes.
I love this one.
So good.
Oh, this one. Good.
Yeah.
I love painting the typical stuff like the beach, the water, and all that stuff, right? But there's so many beautiful views in San Francisco that is not the touristy spot. Like this one's in Excelsior and by McLaren Park, and like you just walk anywhere around McLaren Park, and it's like really beautiful if you don't mind like seeing some overpasses and like streets and that sort of stuff. But like I also like want to represent other parts of the city when I go paint, where you don't typically see like a plein air artist, like the Golden Gate Bridge, you're going to always see plein air artists there. So like I like to go to places where it's not commonly like a typical place to go paint. I'll paint some other things like this one's pretty typical and pretty like touristy. Like this one's off Vallejo Street where I used to live in North Beach. Because you got the beautiful water and you got the overpass, and it's all great to paint. But I just feel like I see a lot of that I just want to represent a little bit more in my sketchbook. Like this is by the recycling center over in the Bayview, and it was just this piece of machinery out of nowhere, and I was even surprised that I had access to get over there. I got a few looks by security guards, but those dudes aren't going to really say nothing unless you start like approaching like the businesses. So I was kind of like on an access road, a little dangerous maybe because big old trucks, like garbage trucks, like bombing down. But if you're like, off to the side and not really in the middle, you're good. But yeah, like stuff like this was really early in the morning, and obviously trying to get the mood of the city with how overcast things are. It's another view of that big old rock in Mile Rock Beach. Struggled with this one too, but you just gotta work through it, trying to find what works and what doesn't. And then I like showing these because these are kind of like notations of like, maybe this was not a successful one, but it's a reminder of what you did wrong or what you didn't do for next time, and prepare for that. This is a chapel in the Presidio. I painted this one many times. I feel like I struggle with this one, this particular chapel, and I was actually kind of happy with how this one turned out. Just I felt like I got the structure down a little bit more accurate than previous times. So that's a nice one to go in the Presidio. And then there's also like pretty close to this, there's a horse stable with retired horses really close to this that you can go and paint them too. They're really out for the public. You just can't feed them. This one, I believe we did with the crew as well, and it was Glen Park, that canyon area again, and it's kind of looking out towards the horizon, and we're like perched on top of a huge rock, and that was a fun day. I think I had a lot of fun just because everybody was really close, so you could hear everyone's conversation and chiming in on jokes.
It was a big group too.
Yeah, that was the day I didn't get to go.
Frankie.
I was in LA at that time, so yeah.
Oh, that's right. This one is on the Embarcadero, looking out towards Treasure Island. I don't know why I tried to paint this. Treasure Island was like a little too far out, and I was just trying to capture the water and boats and whatnot. And it was really hard because the water was not letting the gouache dry right away, so I had to set up my umbrella, and it was a struggle. But now looking back at it, I feel like it wasn't too bad. Let's see here. I got some plants here that casting a shadow. There we go. And so I made the attempt, and it kind of worked out. So I just keep trying. This one is China Beach, and I love painting here, especially when it's like kind of a little wet, because man, the atmospheric perspective that is created with these structures, because they're right behind each other, it has like such a unique like off-world sense. I feel like I'm in a Ridley Scott movie or something, where like Prometheus or something like that, where it's just like everything just pushes back, and then like this very subtle value changes back here, and then how the water makes these tree line disappear, and then like you could still see a little bit of the warmth there. I don't know. I've saw it many times painting this place too. I felt like this one was a little successful because it was a little more washed out with the light and the gray. I have another version of this painted in acrylic. I'll show you guys. And then we got your Golden Gate Bridge in gouache over there by Fort Point. You can see the surfers around the corner here. You can see all these surfers, crazy surfers surfing next to these huge rocks. Mussel Rock, or I think it's Mussel Rock out near Pacifica.
Yeah.
Or
I think it's Muscle Rock, right? Yeah.
Or Mussel Rock. There we go. My brain muscle isn't working. Yes, same idea. Trying to capture the distance, and then also trying to get some detail in the foreground there. Port Funston Beach area. I really was happy with this one. I've also painted this area a couple times. I think my second attempt ever going out with the crew was this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that, Franklin?
Yeah, that was a good day. That was like, I think you were, because like Kim Kogan and Greg Gandy and Pat and everybody was out that day.
Yeah. I thought it was such a good day, and just being around such amazing painters too was like so motivating. And this day was great, but that day where I was my second time painting with you guys, it was like horrendous. But I felt like I had to redeem myself for turning back to the scene of the crime where I committed that atrocity. So I thought I redeemed myself. So I'm allowed to show my face there again.
That's a really beautiful piece. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well done.
This one is out by Bodega Bay. I live here in San Francisco, but my family and my wife's family, they live in Santa Rosa, which is about 30-minute drive to Bodega Bay. So I have the best of both worlds. So I'll go out there. This is also very sentimental to me, along with this painting here. This one's on a canvas board, and it's an acrylic. My mom, she passed away a few years ago, and she loved visiting this place. And I try to do my best to, like, you know, remember her by doing these some of these paintings justice. And it's just a great place. And if you want a new location to go paint, you got to go to Bodega. It's so beautiful out there. Even Point Reyes and Tamales Bay. And I hope maybe one day we could organize something for those who want.
A trip would be cool.
Yeah.
Or you could do a day trip to Point Reyes, probably.
Yeah.
And there's like a great pizza place out there that I can show you guys. Pretty good cafe.
Sounds good.
Pedal paint. This was on my birthday, and I took the bike out and went to Sausalito, and painted this plane that's called Seaplane Tours. It's right off the freeway, and there's a helicopter over here, and I just really liked how warm this yellow was, and so and I love planes, and I love like these amphibious planes too. It reminds me of like those old 80s movies with like gunfights and that sort of stuff. I don't know why I revert to 80s movies, but that's what it makes me remember of. This one is also
For Funston.
Yeah. And then the infamous Franklin and Veronica. I had trouble that day finding subject matter and composition, so I'm like, I just play around with like the angles of the beach and the perspective here and the slope, and just kind of having everything point to Franklin's head.
Yeah, my head.
Yeah. And
yeah, that was a fun day.
Yeah, that was fun, and that's it was also great to see Franklin dive into a new hobby. I was like, man, I kind of want to do the same, but just didn't have enough courage to get all the stuff and join in with getting the crab. And then also, you did 2 paintings that day, Franklin. So I was like, well, geez, if Franklin's gonna do 2 paintings, I gotta do 2 paintings. So also, he gave me a lot of tips from his time with that workshop that you went down to.
Yeah, I think that was the weekend right after I came back from Mike Hernandez's workshop, and I was just like, bootleg instructions over to everyone else in the crew.
Yeah, it was awesome because I was like, tell me. And he gave me some awesome tips. And I felt like I did a lot better just from like the hand-me-down lessons you gave me, which was really useful. I still kind of use a lot of those tips. And this one's in Pacifica. I think that's the same day we went. This is I think a different day instead of the crabbing day. This one was it was just such a cool atmospheric effect happening here with the far off distant Daly City area, and just kind of getting engulfed with that fog. And it was the waves were really violent against the wall, and it was just like, even though it can kind of be scary, I was just kind of drawn to it. I was just like wanting to be around it even more. Just, I don't know, like the true power of things make me feel so much more, secure. It's kind of weird. This one is, I think you say it, Rodeo Beach over the freeway by that military old base. I hiked up really high for this one. I actually have another painting that it's kind of like I was like in this area looking at this rock. And so this one was looking at all these birds. This is all bird poop. And it's kind of like looking down. I don't know. I feel like I didn't do that good of a job showing the height of it. But yeah, a lot of really great place to paint there too. And then this is on the opposite side, more on the Tennessee Valley side, if you guys are from the Bay Area. Looking down, and just a little more green in the hills than I normally see it, and it's just a beautiful place. So the Marin Headlands, if you guys are from LA and you come up, go check it out. Another day with with the crew. And then this
That's
is
where I
also,
met you.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a special day. It's when I first met you, and I got to paint with you guys, and that was really really awesome. So yeah, that was a cool day.
Good times.
That
Yeah,
was
good time.
Legend Day. And
What's
Taylor was
that?
too, right?
Yeah, Taylor was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to meet some new friends all from that trip too. It was really awesome. And then just I try to do the scale here, but just the vastness of these container ships are just so amazing. Like that these things like my Tupperware or like my brushes or something is probably in there being delivered from overseas and it's going over the ocean. I don't know. I just feel like that's so trippy. Like my shoes or something like that, something I ordered is in that container somewhere and it's over the ocean, like the vastness of the ocean. I don't know. It's the things I think about, I guess. I don't know. Another container ship area. I think this is the first time we went out there.
Yeah.
And then these are my acrylics. I've already showed that one. This one was on Christmas. This is an emission and acrylics on canvas board. And this is where all these people were lined up for the mesa, the tamales in the mission, and they all like come from everywhere, and they get the grain to make tortillas and the mesa and like empanadas, all the stuff like to make that for Christmas. And I just wanted to like just show that aspect of it, and it was very very hard because most of the time the intersection was blocked with cars or like people would come by and see what I'm doing. But I'm very proud of this one because it's just a cultural thing too. It's like capturing something that a lot of people don't really witness. This one's in Petaluma. I go to Petaluma a lot. That's where my mom is buried. So, and I have a lot of ties to Petaluma, so I go there a lot. And this one was on a rainy day. This is off the Petaluma River. And if you haven't been to Petaluma, for such a like pretty small city, it's like has so many little factories and places to go to paint, and it's all relatively close to each other. And then you got the hills and like recreational, like natural parks that you can go and do hiking and that sort of thing. So it's and farms, a lot of farmland. Great place to paint. And then this is China Beach again. This is the most current attempt. I glazed it, so there's like a little bit of a reflection there. But I feel like this is the best attempt at that beach. And then this is the one that I went with the crew. And then I think Franklin, did you crabfish? I can't remember if you.
No, I thought about doing it, and then I just decided not to, and decided to paint two paintings instead.
Yeah, this one's a great day too because it was just capturing an event. And so I'm kind of liking these event paintings because I think this was the weekend where crabbing was
Yeah, the season
open.
just started.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh my God, I thought football fans were tailgaters. I thought they were crazy, but these pros, man, they had music, and then the further off you go off into the pier, like it was like another tailgating feel out there. Is like music, people smoking weed, doing all that stuff.
Yeah, barbecues while crabbing.
Barbecues.
So cool.
Yeah, the culture was just so nice. I hate this painting. I just feel like I didn't capture the scale right. I feel like this needs to be a little smaller, and it just feels like a toy model to me compared to the rest. But I wanted to show it just because it's good to show bad paintings too. And I know a lot of people are against that, but it's just the evolution of being an artist. You just know what to do next time when you make a mistake. You got to fail, right? You got to fail to get better. This one is my first acrylic painting, plein air painting. So this is what kicked off the acrylic painting for me quite a few months ago now. Like, I don't know, beginning of the year, right? I would say. So yeah, this was a little milestone for me going from gouache to acrylic. This one is out in Pacifica as well. This one was a cool little story. It's like a really steep. I'm like, there's this little plateau right here leads to a huge cliff area, and I like climbed down there, and Franklin went to go get me some snacks that Joey wanted to give me, and I just felt bad because he had to climb down with his easel, and then he had to, and it was like super steep. Like you literally, your chest is when you're climbing up, your chest is like really close to the rocks because you're like leaning forward a lot. So just seeing Franklin come down that path, I was just like, oh, please don't fall, don't fall.
No, I
But
remember
yeah,
my thighs burning afterwards, so I was really tired.
yeah, yeah. Plein air, you get some exercise. You know, if you don't know where to paint and you're out in nature, you gotta hike around for the perfect spot. So yeah, this was a good day too. Like, I think is it Rock Beach?
Rockaway, yeah.
Rockaway Beach is down into the little around the corner from here. This is on Taylor Mountain in Santa Rosa, really close to where my grandparents live, and this is up on a really steep area, top of Taylor Mountain. Another really cool regional park. Cougars. Um, there's like known to be cougars there, and like all types of wildlife. I think even a bear has gone through there at one point. So go check out your regional parks. This one is close to the Golden Loop Bridge. It's actually further down. It's off of Washington Boulevard in the Presidio, and it's looking out to the Marin Headlands. This one I kind of want to revisit the shadows. I feel like it's a little too dark, even though there wasn't a whole lot of shadows because of the time of day. But I feel like I can go a little lighter on those. Down here is the Battery, so if you want to do some cool discovering, just go along the coast and you'll find a bunch of these old batteries that were there from like the Spanish War and whatnot. They they show like information of like big cannons kind of pointed towards the bay and like even inside the bay. But yeah, that one was a cool place. I revisited that Pier 29 and try to push the lighting in acrylics again with this one. And then don't laugh. It's one of my very first attempts of painting a horse. I found a horse stable in the Presidio, and there was this horse called Rat. That's just so funny, naming an animal a different animal's name. But yeah, this horse was Rat, and he was super curious, and he posed, and I was able to like get enough information in there to get his portrait, which I was honored because I love horses. This one is a church. I think it's a Jewish. I don't know what the name for Jewish church. I guess it's a church.
Synagogue?
Or yeah, it's on California Street. I really like this one, even though I feel like I didn't do it justice. It's just it was so wet and it was raining, and I was under my umbrella, and I felt like I got the mood of it. It's like a lot of grays, and it just it felt miserable, but I love the look of it. So I'll tend to do that a lot. I'll be in miserable conditions just to see if I can capture the environment, and I feel like I'm tough enough to hack it for a couple hours in the miserable weather. Washington Square is over here, and this is that church, and in North Beach, so another beautiful area to go discover and paint. This one's in Santa Rosa on a rainy day. I perched underneath the eave of this, what do you call it? There's like a transit train. This is called a smart train, and it wasn't running that day, and so I just went onto the platform, like a BART platform, and I just hid underneath their little eave, and it was a perfect spot for this location. Just surprised not a lot of people were using it as a shelter. This one was in Golden Gate Park near the Academy of Science. There's a fountain. Not too happy with it. It's a little unbalanced, but just trying to do more painting and do more structural stuff. And then St. Ignatius, right up the hill from me. I live real close to this church, so whenever I want to get a paint session in and don't know what exactly to paint, I go here. And by the time the golden hour comes around, it's just like these beautiful yellows and oranges. Or I'll go like early in the morning, and it's just such a beautiful church. It's like just calls to be painted, so I try to go there whenever I can. This one was with the crew as well. This one had a coyote kind of run and perch over here, and Franklin was the first one there. And when I showed up, he's like, "Hey, watch out for the coyote." And I was like, "What coyote?" And I'm like walking down here, and the coyote's just like chilling right there. And so I got great footage of this coyote.
That's a big one too.
Oh yeah, he was looking at me like I was roast or something. So, but yeah, this was my attempt to get like foliage and then the light and then the morning and that sort of thing. Not particularly too much of a fan of this one. And then this one was in a restaurant. We got hungry and we didn't know where to paint, so we were like hiking around for a while. And so we decided to go to this restaurant, and they had a fountain in there, so we painted that. And then this one is in Buena Vista Park area. Those magical houses that are like super expensive, and they're like constantly like magical. I like to call them like magical just because they're really beautiful.
Yeah, Ant-Man's house is over there.
Yeah, Ant-Man. Yeah, Dr. Pym's house.
Yep.
And then this one is in Golden Gate Park, really close to where I pick up and drop off my son for his forest. He has a forest school that he goes to. And so, like, there's just the eucalyptus trees there are so beautiful. And so I try to capture that lighting. And then this one's for Kate. She really liked this one, so I'm going to trade this one for her car one.
Nice.
And it's the waterfall in Golden Gate Park. We actually have waterfalls. I know we have two of them. But yeah, this is the one off of JFK Drive. Oh, this is the one where the lady was like, this lady came up to me and she's like, you should really go bigger. You need to go way bigger. Like this is good, but you need to start painting bigger. And I'm like, okay, all right, thank you. And so I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should go bigger.
Unsolicited advice.
Exactly. So yeah, and then this is the first one I painted twice. Like I guess double sessions just to get some details, but. This is on Clement Street next to the Blue Danube on 4th and Clement. And I just really like the structure of this apartment. And on the bottom, it's like a laundromat. And I just really like this thing. It kind of reminded me of like a castle. So I was just playing with this. And then I started getting a little detailed on the second session. I've never done that. Whenever I plein air paint, I never revisit. And this one I revisited, and I was able to get a little bit more detail, and I kind of actually enjoyed it. So, and then the most recent one is the infamous the pavilion area in Stowe Lake, which
so good.
Franklin really was encouraging me to go a little more loose, and I liked it. So I'm going to play with the looseness now and not try to be so tight. In future painting.
Man,
so,
Franklin was right. You guys, all three of you were like on fire that day.
Yeah.
When Voltron connects, when they all decide to come together. Individually, we're pretty strong, but when we come together.
Damn,
well, that's it.
That's so much work. Like Juan Carlos has he's like the most diligent in our group because he just paints every single almost like time he can.
That's
awesome. I try.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Anna, your turn.
All right. Hello. I do not have as nice of a camera setup, so I will be taking from this nice messy pile and bringing them up one by one. I was kind of thinking about what to show.
Who are you? Introduce
Oh
yourself.
yes, yeah. Who am I?
Linda's twin.
I'm Lyndon's twin. I'm Lyndon's twin sister. No, we're unrelated. Hi, I'm Anna. I'm from California, specifically Los Angeles, like almost everyone. I currently live in Boston. I go to school in Boston, and I'm in my third year here studying architecture. But I want to take that into animation. I've done work as a BG designer over my gap year, so I've done some stuff in the industry already, but nothing with color yet. So this is why I'm trying to level up my color skills this year and hopefully just broaden my horizons and skills a little bit. So I only really got into plein air this year, and I'm going to cheat a little bit and show like sketches alongside some of my paintings. So I have this little sketchbook that a friend found for me and put together. The light's a little bright here, but it alternates between like white and tan pages, so very nice of her to put together for me. So you can kind of see like I use a lot of line work, obviously. I'm a big hatcher. I believe some of these were of the Warrior Vaders, I think. Lyndon, you might remember the sketch from Model T Cafe, which I have a skating up there actually of the same location. And then gradually started to pop some color work, watercolor in there. I used watercolor for, like, primarily watercolor for plein air work, and my traditional medium for a long while, and I've only recently been getting into like gouache plein air. And I definitely want to keep leveling that up. So last year for Plein April, I did a lot of watercolor studies, and that kind of culminated in like this little watercolor piece in Vegas that we did together with like Brent, Kim, everyone who went down to this very fun trip. This was definitely a high point. This was like a sunrise, like Lyndon drove us to Vegas and back from Vegas, and also to this state park, and also back from it at like a ridiculous time. And we had stayed up late the day before. I kept this messy set of sketches because it's very funny to me. But these were some non-sober sketches done, I'm pretty sure, like either that night or the night before or something. So there's some stuff going on here. On the back, this is kind of just a test sheet that I thought was kind of interesting. Did some black and white studies. I'm pretty sure I forget who this was who like put this little rock tutorial together, but someone here has probably seen it before. Little like temperature value test. So definitely this year has been a lot of figuring out gouache as a medium, and watercolor. And in July / I think this is August actually. This is probably right before I left back for school again. I did this watercolor that I like a little bit more. I think it was a nice way to kind of like cap off my watercolor era for last year, and I haven't really touched it since then. But Lyndon brought over this little nice half naked man statue, and we painted it at night. And it turned out pretty nice in terms of form. But I definitely wanted to push my gouache skills more. So I ended up, and I have a lot of schoolism work here, so this is maybe not as exciting as going outdoors. But for a while, I was just kind of self-studying. So this was like, I'm in school already. This is like probably October, November 2021, maybe through a little bit of December. And I have all of these like black and white master studies done in gouache and white gouache plus watercolor, which is kind of like, I think Kate, you said you use a similar method, and then Nathan Fowkes kind of taught it. That was pretty fun. So all of these are master studies, definitely helpful for figuring out the medium on paper. This was like kind of, I think, my first plein air attempt with gouache and watercolor. Turned out a little fuzzy. Not a huge fan of it, but whatever, I made an attempt, so the work is there. I think I did a second a second attempt. I can't remember I think this was from a photograph or something, and I was trying to try the same image again because it just frustrated me so much. Another master study. I'm gonna try and see if we can. Very professional setup of me. Okay, yeah, this is better. More master studies. And then this is the part of the course where we started getting into color. So this is done from like a photograph that Nathan provided. And then here we have one of my first attempts at gouache plein air. This is during sunset. I did this with Ellen on the bridge. This is like near this, very close to campus. This I think is like a crew like rowing team building. So there's just like these are massive platforms that lead into a river where they drag the boats out every morning. And also where like geese and birds tend to shit all over this. And so there are sprinklers, really strong sprinklers, specifically to like blast the shit off of the platform. So the more you know. And after this point, I started getting a little bit more comfortable. But this is still a photo study. I took a nice photo of like a little nowhere New York location I went to with my girlfriend, and that had a lot of really nice, pretty autumn colors that I kind of fell in love with. Trying to find where my other. This is of the same location, but spent much more time on this photo study. I like where it ended up. I just wish I had the skill to pull this off in person. This was not at the same location, but actually in person. So a little messy, but getting there. And also a lot of my work, I have to say, unfortunately, when Lyndon asked me to do this, I was like, are you sure? Because I've given away like all of my Coast cards, and the rest of them that are not are in Los Angeles. So let's see, limited selection to work from. What else do I have?
It's cool to see your Boston stuff. I've never seen this stuff before.
Oh, really? Yeah, well, that's why we don't post the shitty things. This is another, I think, photo study. So starting to get the hang of the texturing that Nathan likes to play with and that I thought was cool and wanted to emulate. Yeah, I think that's it for this stack. There are more stacks. I tried the same cliff image like a couple of times. Nice. So here and here. I believe this one was done last. Yeah, I think it was. More photo study. And then this is like I feel like we all have those paintings that we like start but don't commit to, or maybe you guys have had them like way, way long ago and have figured it out already. But this was in New York when I kind of, I was with my girlfriend again, visiting her, and I brought my whole plein air setup, which is actually massive right now. And this painting stopped abruptly because halfway through, my tripod disconnected from my easel stand situation, and so everything came crashing to the ground, and the water jar I was using was made of glass, so that shattered in the middle of this Chinatown park in New York. So that was fun. I'm going to do a live paint peeling because these were done when Kim and Brent came to visit in Boston, and I don't think I'm going to finish the other side ever, so actually, I hope I don't rip this. Yeah, I'll do my best.
That was so fun.
Huh?
That was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah. So
I still have the painting that I painted of you and Ellen painting.
Of you and Ellen painting, yeah. Ellen and I were able to get together a couple times basically last fall, winter too, and that was really fun. Let's see. Okay, well, now it's half naked, but I'll do it later. It's taking too long. So this is oh my god, this is a true 5-minute painting done right before the cemetery we were visiting closed.
Just the security guard drove by and said, 5 minutes!
Yeah, we were like, oh no. Because we did not know that, and it also definitely, I think it was late or something, but it took me forever to get there and then to find where they were at, because the cemetery is massive. I've never seen a bigger cemetery in my life. And there were all these rolling hills. And, But anyway, we did some good paintings.
That was
And
fun.
this bottom one is actually an interior that I used way too much purple in. But yeah, there you can see the little caution sign. So more recently, cue like massive time skip between December, like late November and through early January, because that's when Coast Guards happened. Can I cheat and share my screen and show like stuff that I posted on Instagram briefly?
Yeah,
Is that
go for it.
okay? Okay. So I was pretty proud of being able to do like I'm pretty sure like 3/4 of Coast Guards this year. Which is pretty good considering that like Coast Guards and Plain April pretty much exactly overlap with typical like school midterm/final schedules, which is a little unfortunate. But I feel like I really leveled up that month, and that's why I kind of want to walk through it. So it started off over here, bottom left situation, kind of messy, went here. Immediately, I guess, felt a jump from doing it multiple days in a row. And then from there, I think I still only have like this painting, which is just done on my desk right here. All of these were still lives. I still have these two, this plant one and this apple, but I'm pretty sure I gave every single other painting away. I was able to sell some of them too for the first time, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. I cut an apple and put it on top of our COVID test packets, which we turned into as you can see here at the beginning of the word COVID. Yeah, and I feel like my colors gradually got more and more saturated, so I'm reaching the point where I'm like, this is nice, but I should probably try and learn how to use gray more, because I've learned I really suck at that, and I would really like to push myself to pay more attention to actual real life colors as opposed to like whatever this saturation ends up being. So this, I believe this now brings us to like January. I was back in LA briefly during sunset, and I attempted to do a plein air after months of like still lives. These are all my Coast Guards together. It's pretty satisfying seeing the progression. And then the most recent Coast Guards, which I also left back in LA. This is not, I guess, not Coast Guards anymore because it is no longer December. But this was done a couple of days ago at the same City Hall location, but it looks completely different because I think my building illustrations, my drawing has gotten better. I'm not sure about the color, but I was definitely able to get more of those features in there and proportions, which is pretty cool. And then I will stop screen sharing. Most recently, as in like 2 days ago, I started painting in a sketchbook for the first time. This is like very thin, not ideal paper, in my opinion, because you need to go like pretty thick for it to work. And I literally haven't painted on paper since before Coast Guards in December. But I went out and did a sunrise paint with Jennifer and Jojo. And I believe I met Sherwin for the first time in person. And I think Charlotte was her name. I don't think she's on the server though. So this was really fun. Jennifer's painting was gorgeous, of course. And then I did this one. This is actually a color study I did in 15 minutes that I liked more than my actual painting. So that's what you're getting. And then later that day, we did another painting. We went out to a little park near her. And I found these leaves. And greens are kind of rough for me. Foliage, generally, I haven't painted a lot, I think. So yeah, working on this was really fun, and I feel like I'm making a lot of progress with.
That one turned out great. It looks like you absorbed some of her powers just by like.
Yeah, thank you. No, I was just like I go through phases where I look at her work on Insta, and I'm just like, how did she do this? Like when I'm trying to figure something out. So yeah. And then I have some more. These are not paintings. Spoiler alert: they are sketches. But this is like another sketchbook I keep. This is like my trash sketchbook where I also take notes and write and don't pay attention during class. So you see a little figure. Let's see. These are unrelated. So this is some of the work I did for architecture class. So architecture just feels like a really, I don't know, postmodern shape design class to me, like because so much of the form building relies on polygons and meshes and like Boolean operations. So like, what does this shape look like if you subtract an oval from a cube, and like what kinds of shapes can you get if you overlay them a lot? So these are kind of just exercises like that. More of those here. Just a lot of funky shapes. These are pretty quick. I think a lot of people in my major are just kind of weirded out by the stuff I do because I feel like painting is so much more organic, I guess, than architecture drawing, if that makes sense. So at least my style is. So everything I draw is kind of flowy. These are just some more miscellaneous sketches, little bust. Took some notes during class. These were like BG design side views, so a little weird. And then I haven't posted any of my homework yet for this class, but I'm also taking a class with Peter Faustino at Warrior Art Camp. We're almost coming up we're on our last week and a half, actually, so that's pretty fun. But this was a page of ink thumbnails done for class. I don't think I ended up bringing any of these to a finish, but definitely learning a lot of like shape design, for lack of a better word, also from Peter's class. I feel like I like the method of sketching that he's taught, in terms of like how to find little like pinches here. They feel like leaf holes, but in rock instead, so I kind of like that. And then this is a more put together spread. So you can see like I'm starting to like learn how to sketch terrain from
Nice.
I guess just a visual library, and very much like Peter's style. Like if you look up his work, you'll see it's like very heavily inspired. But I really like his method of like creating form. So it's like an extra doodle tool I can rely on now. I drew some board teachers, and then we got to look at these really cool, like I believe 1300s terracotta busts. They're like massive. They're life size, and they just sat on this table. And we got to look at those for a while, so I drew those. That's about it for this page. I don't think I have a whole lot of other work going in. I'm gonna take one more glance through to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, there's one more. About a month ago, I did this to warm up again. Because I have the model right here. This is quite shitty, quite fast. But you know, it's a little but this was done just because I wanted to warm up again. I believe this was mid-February, and by that point I'd gone about a month without painting in gouache. And I definitely wanted to just get into it again, and you know, it feels like I kept some of the saturation or like color balancing skill I learned during Coast Cards, but execution was a little rough. I remember struggling with this. So this is sat here because I didn't feel like it was important enough to bring back home. I have one more painting from... Oh, I actually do have one painting from Plain April last year. So this is when I was deep in my watercolor phase, my watercolor from photos phase. Pretty different in terms of style. It's, I guess, interesting thinking like I'm coming up on a year away from this now. But I think I'd just gotten a new set of watercolor paints. This was one of the LA beaches. I forget which one. Yeah, I had fun learning the medium, I think, but it's not something I would necessarily go back to for plein air. I think this probably took me way too long. I think that about wraps it up for the work I have here that's presentable. But yeah, I'm definitely still getting into making plein air an actual habit on top of other things, and digital work generally. So keep you guys updated, and hopefully there will be more to show next time.
Yeah, that was really cool. Thanks, Anna.
Hey.
Yeah, come to the bay and just paint with us too.
Oh yeah, I'll just walk over real quick. No big deal.
Just hop in the car.
Yeah. I'll take a walk actually. Take take a little swim.
All right, that's it for this week. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone. Thanks to our guests. We have one more show and tell next week, and it's gonna be Angela and Gia showing their sketchbook. So that's
Whoa.
awesome.
Oh wow,
So stay tuned.
sounds good. Thank you for hosting, Lyndon.
Yeah, thank you so
Thanks,
much, Liz.
Lyndon.